The recording, today's recording is in reaction to both Kindiki and Murkomen, among others, who are saying that once Mr. Regardless lands in Kenya, he should record a statement with the DCI on his statement in the US that when President Ruto visited Mandera, he had a night meeting with the head of Al-Shabaab. Mai Mufiala purportedly claimed to have given the Americans a dossier to that effect during his current visit. I want to ask myself, what is it that these people, once they are in power, they lose the power to reason? Anybody who is campaigning to get into power, they talk very well. I want to assure everybody who is listening to me that even if you are supporting somebody who is not in power, what they are talking today is what Ruto was talking the other day. And what Ruto is talking today is what Uhuru was talking yesterday, and it is what your candidate will talk once he gets into power. Politicians don't talk things according to their reasoning. They talk according to where they are. Today, Itumbi is not the Itumbi who was walking around in plaster with broken leg, bones here and there. Itumbi, who was given an unceremonial exit from Bomas of Kenya. The Itumbi was given an ceremonial exit from Bomas of Kenya. If you were to ask him at that time, the police were devils. But today, the same Itumbi would tell you that the police are angels. This goes with all politicians. As I've just said, to them, they reason as per wherever they are. They will only reason because they are in government. They'll reason in a certain set of reasoning. Or if they're in the opposition, they'll reason the opposite. Videos are now going around where I saw one of which it was the first time people were visiting Sagana State Lodge after Ruto was sworn in. You can see the way Rigathi Gachagua was more or less worshipping Ruto, but you can now see he can never complete 2 sentences without castigating Ruto. He even says that his only what do you call, his only work to do that is remaining is to make sure that Ruto is a one-term president. So politicians don't reason as per philosophers. They are just like lawyers. Lawyers reason according to the client has given them instructions. The same goes to politicians. If he is in power, just like, is it last year? There is nothing good in Ruto government that Raila saw. But now all politician, the only person who tells the truth, he or she is a non-politician. Their joining politics has made them forget that they ever went to law school. That is this Murkomen and Kindiki. When they joined politics, it has made them, or not even just politics, when they went into power. One as the deputy head of state, and the other one as the Minister for Internal Affairs. They are joining those official positions that have made them forget or act as if they never stepped in a law school. There is a journalist called Isabella Kitur who works for an international, is it BBC? Her brother was abducted in Tanzania, so her brother went to report to a police station to complain about the abduction, and he was told that the local police have no jurisdiction on things that occurred out of the country. The actual wordings were, he was abducted and mistreated while in Tanzania. So when he came to report to a police station, I think somewhere in the coast, he was told that the Kenya police have no jurisdiction on anything that happened the outside the boundaries of Kenya. But now that the minister in charge of police, that is Murkomen, and the deputy head of state now have realized that the police have authority to record a statement on something that happened in the US. According to the optics which we are now seeing, is that something that happened to Isabella Kitur's brother in Africa, the police have no jurisdiction. But something that Mr. Regardless did in the USA, the police have suddenly gotten the powers of jurisdiction. Actually, it is even being alleged that upon landing, the statement should be taken against him. This also goes to show the weaponization or politicization of the police, because here you are. First of all, the police are supposed to be just like judges, judicial. Thanks to the judicial arm of the government, it is the most independent one. In the judicial, they say that they only operate in cases where they are guided by the law and the evidence given. But the police, we have even heard this time that they are being told, just wait until Mr. Regardless has landed and take a statement from him. I thought that the police were to follow the law, to follow the chain of command, which ends at the Inspector General, and also they are not supposed to obey an unlawful command. But here they are being told what to investigate and what not to investigate. Before I continue, I want to say that we used to have a hard time during Moi's time, because there were cases where Moi would make public pronunciations for an ongoing case, and that one would really spoil the case. For example, you have done an offense and Moi says, huyo mtu afungwe, and then the person is taken to court. What the accused person would say is that the executive arm has already interfered with the case. So kindly, you are two senior lawyers, not just senior lawyers, teachers of law school, kindly avoid being seen. I mean, in law, perception is everything. Avoid being seen to be interfering with the police case. As a member of the opposition, recently said that there is a member of the opposition who recently said that when somebody perceived to be in the government does anything wrong, I think it was Sifuna. Yeah, he said when somebody in the government aligned to the government does anything wrong and we see nothing is happening, we usually redo the same thing. And when the police come for us, they have to get the government person and us, or they are unable to get us because they know that a government official has done that. But this thing coming from two lawyers, they are not just lawyers, They were law teachers. They are not just law teachers. They are the people who are in charge, and they're members of the National Security and Advisory Committee. It is very bad. Where do we start? Where do we start today's topic? Let me try to see where we can start. The question is, did Ruto, because Gachagua, as I was preparing myself to record this, I saw some people even on social media asking that is Kenya a colony of is the Kenya a colony of USA, whereby somebody rushes to go and report to the teacher on duty. Hey, alikutana na kiongozi wa Al-Shabaab. Anyway, so let us start somewhere and ask ourselves, did Ruto really meet the head of Al-Shabaab in Mandera at night or not? You see, there are only two things here. Either Ruto met that person or he did not. And it is only Ruto. There are only three people who know the truth. It is Ruto, the head of Al-Shabaab, and Almighty God. Others, like me and you, we only speculate. But from here, from where I am seated, it is impossible to say, Ruto met the head of Al-Shabaab. It is also impossible for me to say that Ruto did not meet the head of Al-Shabaab. It is too hard for me to say one way or another. But supposing Ruto met the head of Al-Shabaab, let us just assume that he met the leader of Al-Shabaab. Do you think that CIA is so dumb that they didn't get it and had to wait for this long time, up to this time, for Mr. Regardless to tell them? It is how many months? I think more than a year. You want to tell me for all that 1 year, the CIA was not aware? We are assuming, we are not saying that Ruto met him, but supposing Ruto met him. Do you want to tell me that more than a year after the meeting, the CIA had no idea and had to rely on? That's why I usually call him Regardless. He was a member of the sub DCI, DSC. He was a member of the sub district security committee. He knows basically what these things are. If it is true that Ruto met the head of Al-Shabaab, it cannot take a CIA 12 months for them to learn from a careless person like Rigathi, for them to know. It would take less than 12 minutes for them to know. But then let us say either Ruto met the head of Al-Shabaab or he did not meet the head of Al-Shabaab. Both ways, whether Ruto met him or not, the CIA does not need Mr. Regardless report or advice. First, they didn't need his advice because they knew of supposing the meeting happened. Okay, supposing the meeting happened. I want to put it in two ways. And I want to tell you that irrespective of whether Ruto met the head of Al-Shabaab or not, CIA or the American government did not need Mr. Regardless input at all. Because supposing on one hand, Ruto met the head of Al-Shabaab, isn't it? They didn't need this because they would have known of the meeting if Ruto was going. I remember that time he went to Garissa, Mandera, and even some youth started making jokes about it when he was saying barabara itaekwa lami kutoka Mandera, Ramu, Elwak, Kotulo, Tarbach. That thing is there. The joke is there. So that is the time when Mr. Regardless is saying that he met the Al Shabaab person. Now, if he met him, I can talk as a member of the NIS is that if Ruto was to meet Al Shabaab leader at that time, the CIA would have known before Ruto went, because CIA would have known that among the things that Ruto is going to do when he's going to Mandera, they would have known before. And even when they are meeting, I would request you to start reading these declassified British records which are happening. You'd find that during the days of Mackenzie in the mid 60s, they would discuss things and they would talk to the CIA people and the CIA would cover that. So if Ruto was to meet the Al Shabaab person, the CIA would have known before he went. They would also have known when he's meeting. I can tell you, it's night here. They would have said, uh, as we right at this time, the fellow has crossed over. The fellow has crossed over from Bulahawa and he has come. They would monitor. Even right now, as we are talking, President Ruto is talking, they would have done that. And even after the Al Shabaab fellow would have gone back to Somalia, they would have said he left at 11:30, supposing that is the time. For those who are in Nairobi, uh, Bulahawa in Mandera, Bulahawa in Somalia, and Mandera in Kenya is the same distance as from Dagoretti Corner up to BP, Riruta, Dagoretti Corner to Riruta, assuming that Dagoretti Corner is in Somalia and Riruta is in Kenya and Udhiru is in Ethiopia. So what I'm saying is that such a meeting, as they are having a meeting, the CIA would have known before, during, and after. And then there is also this thing that is called blowing of the cover. Even if CIA would have wanted to, they would not want somebody like Gachagua because he would have blown. You see, CIA is like our own NIS. It is a covert organization. So most of the activities they don't want it to be discussed. If there was such a thing or anything, they would not even want the affected African president not to even think that they are thinking along those sides. So talking of that, it would be against the CIA's interest. Um, uh, that is, I've now talked of assuming. I'm talking of assuming that the meeting happened. The second assumption is, and what if the meeting didn't happen? And what if the meeting didn't happen? They still don't need his advice for an event that never happened. You see, these what do you call these intelligence organizations? We really look for the truth, the nearest truth a human being can produce, almost equal to a machine. Now, if you are somebody like, regardless as a CV of talking things which are neither here nor there, being careless in his talks and whatever, so they would not even want him to be involved. And let me give you a secret of the all intelligence organization. When we know that you have a bone to pick with somebody, we don't refuse your reports. Actually, there are some reports which we get, which we just agree on them on face value, or especially when we have no other capacity for a collaborative or a collaborative report, or a report that denies, gives a second view about what you're saying. If you are the only source who's bringing anything, uh, you are good to an intelligence organization. But if you are known to be somebody who gives intelligence to for kulipisha. Kulipisha, I don't know what we call it in English. You have a bone to pick. And another thing is, if they know that you are on a bad, just like Rigathi Gachagua. Of course, even I listen to him. Even I listen to Speaker Muturi. But you see, at the back of my mind, I usually tell myself, what Muturi is saying, by the way, I can say it is true. For example, what Muturi says, uh, the president is the type of person who advises advisors to advise him. That one I accept. That the president is the prime cabinet secretary. That one I agree. That the president, and every time there is a business deal, the president has a cut in it. But you see, at the back of my mind, as a trained special branch officer, at the back of my mind, I have to know that two things. That one, Muturi is not on good terms with Ruto. And on the second hand, I also have to bear in mind that were it not the incident of his child, of his son being abducted, if the son would not have been abducted, up to this time, Muturi would be singing hallelujah. So that is, I just gave the example of Muturi to show how we in the intelligence organizations work. Uh, it is always good for somebody to come, and that is the training. Try as much as possible to get intelligence from somebody who has no bone to pick with the subject. And in cases where he has a bone to pick with the subject, be careful with what he's saying. And also, if you are careful with what he's saying, also try to put in mind that there is a pain on his part. So you have to try, if possible. You have to try. That is a hint. That is a hint you're given. So try to look for other sources to confirm, because any intelligence officer will tell you that a person like Muturi, who before the son was abducted, he was singing hallelujah. Such a person can only be relied on in the absence of other sources okay, of information, or he can be relied on as a source of giving you hints where to start investigating. The same applies to Mr. Regardless. Regardless was praising, the way he was talking about Ruto was as if he was the second Jesus. And then he has taken his personal differences with Ruto to be what he. One time, he can talk for 30 minutes. But if you request him to talk, to give a speech without mentioning, or okay, he can mention Ruto, but without castigating Ruto, I think he'd spend, if he's to give a speech of 30 minutes, he'll end up giving a speech of 30 seconds if he is conditioned to say that. So, even as I said, even if the information is reliable, then Mr. Regardless has regarded less of the obvious. He has regarded less for the obvious, because with the NIS and other intelligence organizations, you don't go there in the morning, meet them, discuss with them, and then call a press conference. Hey, nimejipatia kazi rahisi sana. I'm trying to make people appreciate and understand the NIS. I would tell you, anytime you have any information about the government and you don't know which office to go and report, or it is something very serious but you don't want it to be traced to you, kindly the one Huduma Center. Yeah, I think before even Huduma Center came, during the Huduma, even after that, I would advise you to go to NIS, which to me I feel it is the Huduma service. I have issues with them, but that I don't have to be like my Mufiala, my cousin from Madera West. I don't have to be like my my cousin who differs with the government and goes out to bad mouth them. I do believe sincerely that NIS is the Huduma Center, especially if the information you have has 2 points. On one point, you don't want it to be traced back to you. I can tell you, I know of so many people. You tell them anything, they tell you a story or anything. You tell them go and report to the police, they say we unajua tu mambo ya police. The police will 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 not get the report because in a police station without recording an OB hakuna kitu. Two, the police, you may come to an extent and find that your story is false or anything. The police will will go for a charge that is called giving false information to a public officer. There are even cases where you give a police information, he passes out and says, yeah, that thing is there. But let me tell you, if there is anybody who has hinted anything to the NIS since the days of special branch and it has been taken out, that they come and tell me, and I'll record something and apologize. I'll record something and apologize and say, but with the intelligence, if they have to contact the police, they'll make sure that you are not even mentioned there. And my friend, once you see things happening, be the first one to tell people, hey, hii kitu tulikuwa nafikiri ni sisi tu tulikuwa najua, kumbe serikali ilikuwa inajua, so that it is not traced back to you. The second thing I wanted to tell you is that once you talk to the NIS, kindly don't pursue the case. Don't pursue the case. If you trust me, don't pursue the case. First of all, we get uncomfortable if you have to knock the door all the time. Ile kesi yangu ilifika wapi? This is not a crime branch. This is not a CID. This is not mzee wa mtaa where you report and then you go to 2 weeks later to confirm where what you said that report imefika wapi. Just let them be there. Especially if you don't want to be connected to the case. What happens with NIS is you tell them something, they look at it and they'll know how to act upon it. Sindikale ka kichochoro watu wanapitaga saa 8 za usiku then they organize in such a way that maybe the police will make an abrupt abrupt night patrol. It will not be an abrupt. It is the information that you said that they usually pass there at around 3:30, and then it will never be known that. So what I'm trying to say is that this thing of saying that they have reported the issue to the CIA, I can tell you, even Kenyan NIS, if you are to tip them anything, and then start going around telling people that you have tipped them, the NIS would not be happy. So regardless, that is what I said. I also get concerned that Rigathi used to be a DO and he used to be a regular receiver of intelligence. So he should behave as somebody who has been through that. But anyway, that is how he is. He does not regard. He regards less of his training and experience. I wish I was in the Ruto's camp, as people say. First of all, does actually Ruto get advice? I doubt. He would advise me. If I were to advise him, he would advise me on what to advise him. But I hope this reaches him. That Mr. Regardless is his worst enemy. Regardless worst enemy. How many times has the president given his critics a new name to give him? Take all these names, apart from maybe Kasong. This thing of I look for chapati, look for a machine that produces 1,000,000 chapatis per day. They called him Al Chapo. He talked about what do we call it? He talked about shoot the person one leg. Now kids are dancing and say one leg, one leg. One thing I would advise the president if I were to meet him, that is before he tells me what to advise him, is a person like Mr. Regardless is regardless his own enemy. Just let him mess around with himself. Don't don't acknowledge him. You have seen just I'll give an example. He went to the US, and Gen Z in the US told him, "We want you to be a national leader, not a tribal leader." You see, and let me tell you, there is nothing as good as your enemy dying, but you have not contributed to his death. That thing is very good. Uh, if you uh, if you do anything, I've seen cases where somebody even reports his own child. The child is arrested by the police, and then the police. You have heard of is it OCS Mutua or somebody? He's in jail for life. You take your son to the cells. The police kill the son. You live your whole life regretting why did I have to report my son to the police. The best thing I believe is mwachie Mungu. So there are times you leave things and then your enemy goes and dies his own death, and there's you have not played any part on it. Just like all the time ni wangapi wanataka tuachane na yule mkabila sijui nini, pembeni mikono. You should ignore that, Mr. President. Just leave him, let him talk. As of now, there are two stories which are, are trending about Mr. Regardless. And if the president would have listened to people like me, I don't get there. But if I were to get there, maybe the president would not even listen to me, because he will tell me to tell him what he wants to be told. But Mr. Rigathi himself has gone to America. Kids have told him to his face that don't talk things. You are a national leader. Talk national things, not tribal things. You didn't participate in that. But when you participate, people start singing, oh, one leg, because you say, piga hii risasi peleka hospitali. You see? Another thing is that there is something cooking. I don't know whether my antennas are telling the truth, but Rigathi Gachagua has told the people who are who are in the opposition, that between now, he has given them, is it 18 months, to go and consolidate uh, votes in the home area. And he's wondering why, if he has to consolidate 6 million people, 6 million voters in the mountain, and then you bring 500,000 and you expect him to hand over that to. You see, Mr. President, those are the things. You just ignore him. You'll just find he'll fragment the opposition. He'll fragment the opposition. And when he fragments the opposition, it is you to benefit. But when you start coming in with mashini ya milioni moja chapati, you're called Al Chapo. When you come in and start talking, oh, nani anataka mi nimeona Wakenya wote waungane wawe kitu kimoja ndio tusonge mbele, sijui nini. With an opponent like Mr. Regardless, you should be what do you call, reporting in the work very early and leaving very late, and ignore him. Yeye mwenyewe atajichoma, and that is what is there, unless of course you mishandle him and attention goes back to you and you alone.